Sometimes I do a recording in the mornings. I watch a lot of sunrises now that I'm on this beautiful paradise island. And today it's raining, so this morning especially was a special one. So I've turned it into an audio, and I'd like to keep offering these now and again when it really comes through, the clarity. I do believe that when we're in our theta state or even delta state, we just seem to be able to flow. And I don't know if you've experienced that too, but highly encourage it to just go within to your own wisdom, bring it out, put it on a video or an audio, and just listen to it for yourself. You don't necessarily have to do it for others, but it's so lovely. You'll find when you're in your heart and in your zone, you really have a lot of wisdom to offer the world. So I'm encouraging it through my own example here. Enjoy. Here I am in my car. I just set it up so I could enjoy looking out the roof above. I have a glass roof. I can look at the stars at night time, and right now I can look at a beautiful tree. I put some things up on the side so I have absolute privacy. I back my car to a beautiful beach so I can see the sea. And I ponder, why do I like doing these things? I started to take form and words and thought, oh, I might record this. And a little insight and clarity came to me. So where is my home? Why is it I love traveling? Is it that I don't feel I belong anywhere and I'm trying to find that place? And the clarity came. My home is with nature. And nature is throughout the world, thankfully. I can go to a place. I can feel the tree. And every blade of grass, I find the true me. For nature is constant, natural, nature, perpetual, eternal. And it exudes a divine love, a love of the Mother Earth, Papatuanuku, Pachamama. The earth, and in its form of creation, is filled with energy, and this is the energy of love. Love is what bindeth the elements of the universe, and so my home is firstly nature, and nature in terms of natural nature, nature that was formed by the unknown, formed so intricately, beautifully, perpetual, continual, able to replicate itself, a living, romantic, bustling, orgasmic energy that just keeps going and going, coming back as childlike form of seed right through to maturity, the uniting of the birds that co-create to be able to create little birds. Oh, just the contemplation of all of that is enough to sit in a meadow for hours, to sit like I do, looking at the ocean, to swim and feel the wetness of the water, to know that nature is living, a living air, living water. Living me makes me feel alive. So wherever I am, my home is in nature, for I feel most alive there, most me, most true, most natural. And I also seek the company of those that feel it too, and those are usually those who have come and still have the memories and the secrets and the knowing of the ancient cultures, the simplicity of life, the cycle of life, family, of land, of connection. In the ancient times, one would dwell in one place for quite a long time. Those of us who discover the love of nature can stay in one 3 by 3 meter space and be quite content for days. There is this feeling of home that comes when we connect, when we feel one, when we know we are one. And those types of people, those dwellers on the land, feel more my kin, my family, for they know the secrets, and we look at each other with sparkling eyes. We might not even say anything, but we know this is the balance. And so others may look at me, as I've had different homes, in this homeless place on the planet right now where everyone has tended to be displaced from their connection. But I know that, well, the displacement is there where ancient cultures have been taken off their land, taken away from their family, taken away from their language, taken away from knowing every tree, displaced all of us, not just the darker coloured indigenous as we call them, but we are all, have been, indigenous. The dwellers, like my father's line of the Scottish, were up on the great hills of the Lochs, the Highlanders, and then those that wanted to displace them burnt them out of their villages, their homes, their thatched roofs with fire so that sheep could dwell there instead. So they were sent down to the valleys, off onto ships with greater opportunities because they were so displaced to go to the colonialism of those that were encouraging them to go somewhere, telling them that that new land was going to be their home, like my mother's line, the Maori. The Maori, one day some ships came. The New Zealand Land Company, who had already sold big plots of land where people like my other family line, my father's line, had been burnt out of their homes, had bought very cheaply the chance to have at least a hectare in a town and at least 100 acres in the countryside. And in the meantime, the Māori were, all of a sudden breaking laws of the new laws. They were displaced and told that they were breaking the law to stand on their land. So they went to stand somewhere else, and they were breaking the law because they were standing on someone else's land, and all of a sudden that land became, overnight, the New Zealand Land Company's property. And so those of us who know see governments and see, if you actually look, that they're registered companies, like the New Zealand Land Company. And my other ancestor on my Māori side, because there aren't that many Māori left that haven't been seeded with a different race to try and weaken their bloodline. William Sorank came with the New Zealand Land Company, a very charismatic character, I see. His smile, a very vivacious smile, which allowed him to marry after his family had marry into the Māori princess, prince, king. That's not really a word that Māori use, but they used it to show they also had authority as they talked amongst the settlers. And that's where my family line on my Māori side comes on one side. And Te Puia Herangi was from that line. And her Māori uncle told her to come back from Auckland and do some things. And with her love, her motherly love, and her charismatic power of the feminine, the divine feminine, she dwelt amongst the politicians of the time and was able to converse and saw what was happening, and inspired all of the Māori kapahaka, the Māori culture groups of singing and dancing, to travel around the whole of Aotearoa, New Zealand, and raise money. And with that money, she encouraged the building of all of the marae, so many big, beautiful homestead places that secured, again, the Māori homes after the Māori wars, where they fought ferociously and did very well, and managed to even get to the point where a negotiation had to occur, te tiriti o Waitangi, te tiriti o te Waitangi, the Treaty of Waitangi. With the conning of language, the chiefs thought that there was something that was gained, an agreement, and the agreement tended to be, have some blankets and some muskets. By the way, we'll take everything. Oh, we might leave you the seafood, kaimoana, because we don't really like that. Now the Māori know. Oh, wonderful kaimoana, and how costly it is these days. We got to keep two things. We got to keep the kaimoana, the seafood rights, and the burial grounds. How lucky were we? And yet, the short-sightedness of the colonists was to just do it for 200 years, because of course they're going to be dead by then, pretending to care for their family lines, which were all misplaced people at some point in history, by following this crazy devouring of all that's natural. So when they die, who cares? They made their profits, felt like kings, and their pompous eating of food that made them sick and fat, dwelling over, dominating, and often just men, alongside the missionaries who would tend to do the dirty work of converting the people, the Māori. But if you look at the Indigenous in Australia, strategically taking each child away from their family, displacing them, not just putting the children together somewhere far away from their home and their family, but strategically placing one child with other children that spoke different languages, so that they were definitely displaced, because that's what you do if you want to take people away from who they really are. You take them away from their land, their people, their language, their trees. And you know what it creates? It creates anger. It creates sadness. It creates sorrow so deep. And this is what us strong ones, kia kaha, strong ones of the mana, the honour of caring for land and people, that's what we've had to find a way to harness. Be like water, as Bruce Lee says. We've had to get that anger and that sorrow and that great feeling and turn that emotion into a tidal wave of flow. Yes, there is a great feeling, but we know we need to move away from it, because that is what controls us. Because of course we will not forget to care for our land and our people. But we need to harness that power and move it away from anger, because that is how they control us. We have to move it away. We have to transmutate the sorrow, the trauma, the triggers that perpetuate us back into that cycle, that loop of centuries of control, of domination over us. And so us great nature lovers may feel displaced, but we are feeling like I feel. that I am home. I am home, and I gain my power and my balance back when I am in nature. I can be on all places of the planet, and I can find my people, my kin. I just look for the ones who still have the ancient knowledge, the indigenous, those that have kept their ancient cultures. Even in England, you'll find the Druids. You'll find those that keep the ancient Celt culture. Even me, travelling to Scotland, never born there in this life. Hire a car, use my other power, which is my intuition. For those of nature know that the ancient knowledge isn't learned outer, like they try and make us think when they force us to do schooling and indoctrination for years and then off to a university of a place full of people, full of theory, full of mind, telling us what is. And if you have read all these books, well, then you must be intelligent. No, we know. There is a sweet spot in the knowing of the silence and of nature as we sit silently looking at the stars, watching the ocean, watching the fire, the burning of the wood, the rings of the wood, of the bark, the trunk of the tree, ancient rings, connecting us to our ancestors, to the nature spirits, to the deities, to the energy that surrounds nature, to the blueprint of the perpetual perfection of the stars moving in perfect alignment, to the trees that know from the seed its greatness and that perpetual movement of wanting to expand and keep moving forward, the knowing of the bird as it's born of how it can fly, the nurturing of the parents, but the knowing of the bird, of the baby, of when to take flight, leave that nest and fly. There is a great knowing that comes from within, and within is like an implosion of the 0 point of quantum physics, where the sweet spot in the middle, and as you feel that spot, that 0 point, instead of expansion of explosion, you implode, and all of a sudden from nothingness there is everythingness, the tree of knowledge, the Akashic records, that can be found in the silence, and especially in the silence of nature. And so the Buddha, in enlightenment, meditated and meditated under the Bodhi tree. It wasn't that he found enlightenment and meditated. He found enlightenment from being under the Bodhi tree, and the knowledge came from all of the wisdom of every little leaf and dewdrop. That's where the knowledge can be found, great ones. I call you, me, great ones. The brewing of the sleeping, of the I am presence of the soul. As William Blake said, to see the world in a grain of sand and a heaven in a wild flower. To hold infinity in the palm of your hand and eternity in an hour. You see, we can see the world in a grain of sand. We can see heaven and wild flowers. We can hold infinity as we look at the palm of our hand. And we can feel eternity in an hour, especially when we are in nature and silence. We tap in, we drop in to the 0 point of infinity. And he says, we are led to believe a lie when we see with, not through the eye, which was born in the night, to perish in a night. when our soul slept in beams of light. Great ones, great me. Feel, go within, implode from the beauty of nature into the eternal oneness of everything. Feel oneness with all trees, plants, oceans, air, winds, storms. Allow the energy, for that's all we are, to merge with the energy of nature, and that buzzing and brewing of the sleeplessness will come to awakeness, and all of a sudden we will become part of everything again. And we will so clearly see the futility and stupidity and ridiculousness of trying to seek out in an outer way knowledge and friendship and friends and fit in with society, a sick society that will only perpetuate itself into death and suffering and more diseases and violence and prostitution and abuse and trauma and separation. It will never, ever lead to an illusion of power and prosperity by following numbers that aren't even real. It's all a hologram. The only thing that is actually energy in a hologram, but it is a true one because it comes from source, from our divine mother and our divine father, and we as the divine child, the innocent child, we are the creators, the sphere of light from the oneness of light. We are the creators, the feeling of love from the oneness of love. And as we create in harmony with nature, not following this unnatural, horrible, ridiculous, creative disease that just can never find contentment because it doesn't have love. And it will keep wanting to eat and devour and kill and suck the energy from us. And there is no power in it. It's just the opposite of love. And the only power it gets is by conning us that we need to be following these stupid rules. So there's many, many, many of us awakening. And luckily there were some of us, thankfully from my family line, somehow I had such a staunch power since a child, growing in a family of staunch Māori. Thank you, my ancestors, my aunties, my uncles, my mama. The suffering you went through to give me the strength to not cry, not feel this sadness or anger of the devouring that I saw around me of our family and our land. I turned that into a tidal wave, a power of love. And I befriend the Indigenous here where I am living right now. And the Indigenous I've met. And the ancient cultures of Damanhur, the Italians and Findhorn, Scotland, and of the Celts. And I went to Russia, Vedrusia, to understand the ancient Rus, Brew culture, the blonde and blue-eyed Indigenous who maintained their motherland and are restoring themselves back to it. We are everywhere. We cannot be stopped. We are not going to fight. We don't even need to play that game. We, the ones who didn't vaccinate, and we do not judge those who did. People awakening at different times. There are ways to just step aside from the belief that our body needs to be healed by medicines. We are rising up from the rainbow serpent, restoring the DNA because so much DNA has been reduced to 2 strands. Now we are going to be 10s, 12, 24, 48, even more. as the rainbow serpent comes from below the earth. She has been hiding. She is coming up through us, through our chakras, through our spine. And as we do our breathing, as we meditate, as we see these beautiful rainbow colors, the DNA is being restored through the serpent line, and it will perpetuate up and up and up into the cosmos and the universe. That is what we can control. And as we tap into the breath work, to the meditation, to the knowing, to the power, to the ascension work, to the protocols, to the medicine wheels, to the knowing of honoring the 4 directions, the 4 primary forces, through doing the infinity loop through our body, through moving the chakras in motion and in circular movements. This is what we're doing with the New Earth Dreaming. We are bringing the different people who have gone through years, like my friend Simon the Merlin, who has gone through the suffering and the trauma, and he has married Japanese, and he has had beautiful relationships with Persians and other countries, and traveled with, jumping onto trains through Europe, and 70-something years on the planet, knew the Beatles and knew all of the wonderfulness, and is so youthful. I'm so thankful that I met Simon. I found my own way back through meeting people who are teaching the protocols of how to ascend through getting out of the mind. The God of the mind, the masculine God, is not true. The masculine God is actually in the solar plexus. We bring the masculine back into its rightful place below the heart, the feminine, the mother God. There is the masculine and the feminine. There is no male God who looks after all the children. It's ridiculous. Have you ever just seen a male that raises children? We know that men can do it for sure, but who raises the children? It is the mother. And the mother isn't coming back to dominate, so all those egotistical males who are scared of the feminine energy, as if we're going to deprive our children. I am a mother of 2 great sons, as if I want my sons to be dominated by the feminine. Of course, that's ridiculous. It has only been a certain energy that has controlled the men through ego. Even the men aren't bad, but they need to come back to their balance, which is the solar, which is the sun, which is the Rangi Nui. Right from the time of the beginning, many cultures say Ra is the sun, the solar. Come back, O masculine, divine masculine, into the solar plexus, where you, with your beautiful loving arms, hold the mother. And that is what you've always wanted to do. And the mother returns to the heart. And we do not use the mind at all. It is just the servant of the solar plexus and of the heart of 40,000 brain cells. That is where the balance is again. And the mother and the heart and the loop balances back the brain, so we return to what we were, which is one brain, not 2, not left, not right, not duality, causing us to be confused, causing anyone who listens to silence in the mind go crazy. No wonder people don't want to meditate. Will come out of the mind, because the mind meditation is not a very enjoyable one. It is just chattering of a crazy mind that contradicts itself. Visualize that you have in the mind a beautiful locus of focus. And there's a little innocent child that steps out. And the innocent child goes into the mind and drops down into the heart. And the beautiful innocent child knows that this is their true home, and comes out, starts to look around the heart. And the heart is like a beautiful red rose. And the heart is in its bud. And the little child touches the rose, and the rose slowly opens. The heart has been closed for thousands, and thousands of years. It was the only way it could survive this horribleness of separation. But you can open your heart again in safety, for you're surrounded by nature. Don't listen to any of those programs and conditioning, following some blind dream of illusion. Come back into yourself, into your heart. Your heart will guide you. It will be your intuition. Listen to the birds. Listen to the ocean. Look at the fire. Find your kin. Find the ones that honor the ancient protocols. There are those that are still lost. Be careful. Ask yourself, are they in their heart? If they're proclaiming great things and trying to use nature and spirituality to gain their harem so that they can abuse, especially men, leaders abusing women, sucking their energy, you'll see it. It'll be a false illusion because they're not in their heart. You see, anyone who's lost can't be in their heart. When you're in your heart, you just can't dominate. You can't come from ego. Find the protocols that bring you back to your heart, and then you'll find the silence. You're able to be in meditation for hours in silence because you're not in your head. You'll be in the mother, the loving embrace of your mother. You'll find your true mother. You can let go of the dysfunction of the mother and the father that you may have had. They too were lost. Find immediately the divine mother in your heart. Find immediately the divine father in your solar plexus. They will be the twin flames to your side. You will be in the middle, in the central point, the focal point. The non-duality, the 0 point. That's where you will be, and on your left will be your mother who will nurture you, and on your right will be your father who will support you and strengthen you and protect you. And we call that the violet flame in your heart of transmutation. The left is the mother, the right is the father, and the middle is you. The Holy Trinity isn't the Father, the Son, the Holy Spirit. The Holy Trinity is the mother to the left, the father to the right, and you, your powerful, infinite I Am presence, your soul in the middle, the threefold flame. Can you feel it now? It's getting stronger and stronger and stronger and stronger. It reaches up to all possibilities. It feels the whole cosmos. All of your ancestors of purity are supporting you now. All of the nature spirits, all of the divine great ones who have held space, who have never controlled you, or who are waiting your command to say, I am ready. Help me be my greatest. Step me into my true power. Help me find the ones that will support me. Help me find the books, the knowing. Help me get the dreams at night. Help me just notice a bird and see some wisdom from her. That is how you'll find your ascension. There is no teacher, no one God, no male, no just Jesus who's been taken away from his purity. Jesus is awesome, but he had a wife and they were masculine and feminine, and they turned her into a prostitute. All those male priests, it's all bullshit and ridiculous. Feel the power coming back again, the masculine and the feminine. You're going to have a lot of beliefs that need to be burned in the fire of transmutation of the violet flame. You're going to have all those things you got taught, that this is this and this is that. There are no beliefs. There is nothing. All there is oneness and love. The soul of the masculine is the light. The heart, the feminine, is love. Light and love is all there is. And you are that. And you can bring that to the world. And you can cry, you can scream, you can have rage, you can have all the emotions, you can dance it out. Do the ecstatic dance. Find something where you move your body back so it becomes like a rainbow serpent. It is moving, the hips are moving. You are wild once more. Don't worry, you're not going to get lost. You're actually going to find yourself. Experience all the motions. Let them out. Make sure that nothing is left sitting in the body. Allow it all to be released, and you will find the purity that will come through of the mother and the father, the light, the love will come through your spine so beautifully, and it will come like kundalini rising. And let it happen slowly, like eating beautiful meals. Don't eat it all at once. Don't try. Sometimes with these medicines, these plant medicines, people get it too quickly and then they don't know how to handle it. It's okay to do it slowly. Enjoy each meal. Enjoy that one piece of tomato, fresh, organic. Get away from anything that's unnatural. Come back to anything that's natural. Anything man-made, especially with technology, with the power of profit and power and ego and mind, is not a delicious meal to eat. Don't take those medicines. Don't take any of that food. Find some organic food. Find the people who know how to grow things and who have always stayed true and not needed medicine. Yeah, there's those crutches. Think of it like you've got a broken leg and use it for a little while and then wean yourself off it so you can walk again. Don't have it forever or you'll just die from it. My mother, bless her soul, trusted doctors as God. And within 15 years of taking one medication which required another one, that then had to require another one because of contradictions of all of the medications that were giving side effects, so she had to take another medication. Within 10 years she was on over 10 medications, and then her body organs started to fail because of the medications, and she died from the medications. And it's a painful truth to hear these things, and there'll be anger at me, anger at people who say these things. Those that be try to make it seem like we're into conspiracy. We just know and we say, but we don't go into the anger of it. We move quickly away from anger. We say the truth, we move away, and we stay in love, for that is where the power is. So feel the anger, it's okay, but better to be angry for a moment at something that's saying the truth to get closer to it than being angry at rubbish and just holding anger for the rest of your life. Feel the anger, move it, and you'll find that all of a sudden the truth will come, because within each one is the brewing, within the soul as it sleeps in beams of light. And so I look up through my glass window at a beautiful tree, staying silent, waving at me in the clouds. And it's rain today, feeling the raindrops. Luckily on my roof, the birds going by. I look out the back of my window to the beautiful ocean and the beach. It's time of sunrise, best time, no one's around. Silence, all I can hear is the ocean, the wind, some birds, and I can also feel my heart. My heart's beating. I brought it alive. I hope I brought your heart alive too. When we talk like this, when we feel like this, when we speak like this, I do this. I speak when I feel like speaking just for myself, and then I listen to it. And I'm like, whoa, I love your truth, Kirsten. Thank you for sharing. Sometimes it feels a little bit crazy, but crazy is normal in this world that's gone and lost its true balance. When I listen back, I love what I say. And so if this is just for me, that will do me. But if it can be for others, let this be an authentic true innocence of someone on their own journey. And let's hear more of these stories. Let's turn the news off. I never watched the news for 20, 30 years. Who would want to watch that rubbish that just brings people into fear, anger, sorrow, tragedy? All of the lower emotions hold us into a trap, a slavery. Yes, feel them for a little while, but get on up to bliss, contentment, joy, love, light, and we will be in a realm where everything is energy. We don't need to go off and leave the planet. We can feel it all in nature, and we'll probably want to hang out with nature more than being in concrete places with people suffering in their illusion of control and slavery. So nice being in nature. Anyway, I can feel my heart. I can feel the buzzing through my whole body. My head feels slightly dizzy. My legs, I can feel buzzing and pulsating. My fingers, my hands are buzzing. If you do Tai Chi, if you start to work with Qigong and the energy, by the end of it you'll feel the buzzing. Start to notice these things and you'll feel you're really alive. You won't need people. You won't need to follow. You won't need to fit in. You'll be content all alone because you're not alone. You're with nature and you'll feel the tree as your friend. Indigenous call them brothers, sisters. Hug a tree if you feel alone. And then you'll start to feel even within your body. All your organs are your friends. You start to feel that you can visualize being right up, flying into the universe. You'll start to see and feel nature spirits. Your ancestors, your grandmother who loved you, smiling at you. You look at the cloud and you'll see a smiling face. It's actually quite good to believe in one thing, in magic. And then you'll start to enjoy all the synchronicities that happen through your day. And you'll gravitate towards friends like I have. They will be you. You deserve to have wonderful, playful friends of all ages, not just one age. Children will give you a gift. Older people will be the wise ones. Life just becomes gorgeous, lovely. But you'll need to balance your energy because your kundalini will have risen like a great dragon serpent through your spine. You'll activate all of your DNA and feel like a fire. So you need to know how to do breath. You need to know how to ground so that you can bring and wield this energy and be like Bruce Lee, the great martial artist who could wield energy and power because he knew to be like water. May we all flow